Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, text 35 and 36. 35 does not have a purport, so we will just recite 35 and together we recite 36. Yesham Gosha Nivasinam Uta Bhavan Kim Devarate Nash Cheto Vishwapalat Palam Tvadaparam Kutrapyayan Muhyati Sadveshadiva Putanapi Sakula Tvam Eva Deva Pita Yadhamartha Suhrit Priyatmatanaya Pranashayas Tvatkrite. My mind becomes bewildered just trying to think of what reward other than you could be found anywhere. You are the embodiment of all benedictions which you bestow upon these residents of the cowherd community of Vrindavana. You have already arranged to give yourself to Putana and her family members in exchange for her disguising herself as a devotee. So what is left for you to give these devotees of Vrindavana, whose homes, wealth, friends, dear relations, bodies, children, and very lives and hearts are all dedicated only to you? Text 36. Please repeat after me. Tavat raga adayah stenaha tavat kara griham tavat mohah angri nigadah yavat krishnam na te janaha Tavadragadayastenas Tavatkara griham Tavanmohongri nigado Yavat Krishnanate janaha Tavadragadayastenas Tavatkara griham Tavanmohangri nigado Yavat Krishnanate janaha Tavadragadhayastenas Tavatkara griham Tavanmohongri nigado Yavat Krishnanate janaha. Tavadragadhayastenas Tavatkara griham Tavanmohongri nigado Yavat Krishnanate janaha. Tavat, for that long. Raga adayah material attachment and so on. Stenaha, thieves. Tavat, for that long. Karagriham, a prison. Griham, one's home. Tavat, for that long. Mohaha, the bewilderment of family affection. Angri, upon their feet. Nigadaha, shackles. Yavat, as long as. Krishna, O Lord Krishna, na, do not become. Te, your devotees. Janaha, any persons. Translation unpurport by his disciples of his divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. Translation. My dear Lord Krishna, until people become your devotees, their material attachments and desires remain thieves, their homes remain prisons, and their affectionate feelings for their family members remain foot shackles. Purport. Apparently, the residents of Vrindavana, the abode of Lord Krishna, are simple householders engaged in ordinary affairs such as herding cows, cooking, rearing children, and performing religious ceremonies. However, all these activities are intensely engaged in the loving service of Lord Krishna. The residents of Vrindavana perform all activities in pure Krishna consciousness and thus exist on the most exalted platform of a liberated life. Otherwise, the same activities performed without Krishna consciousness constitute ordinary bondage to the material world. Thus, one should not misunderstand the exalted position of the residents of Vrindavana, nor should one consider oneself highly religious simply because one performs ordinary domestic affairs very enthusiastically without Krishna consciousness. By focusing our passionate attachment on our family and society, we are completely deviated from the progressive path of Krishna consciousness. Conversely, if we engage our family in the loving service of the Lord, our endeavors to maintain our family become part and parcel of our progressive spiritual duties. In conclusion, by studying the extraordinary status of the residents of Vrindavana, we can see that the essential quality of their lives is pure Krishna consciousness, the rendering of loving service to the Lord without a trace of material desire or mental speculation. Such loving service to the original personality of Godhead immediately creates the atmosphere of Sri Vrindavana Dhama, the kingdom of God. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swaminiti Namine. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are continuing to hear from the prayers of Lord Brahma, and we can again see a very exalted statement that's given by Brahma about the pure devotees of the Lord of Vrindavan, their exalted position. Before we just discuss this verse, we will see the previous verse, the last 2-3 verses. Brahma is expressing his on one hand his insignificance, that on the other hand, by expressing his insignificance, he is glorifying the topmost or the superior position of the Brajavasis. He is glorifying how a birth in Vrindavan, even on the outskirts of Vrindavan, as a grass or as a plant, it's so glorious, because I would get an opportunity, Brahma says, I would get an opportunity to be walked over by the Brajavasis so that the dust can touch my head. And that I would consider as a perfection of life, he says. So that in itself shows who are the Brajavasis, who are the Brahma, who knows all the 4 Vedas, who is the most intelligent person in the entire universe, is offering such a prayer. Now, it's a very interesting conversation. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary, I'll just read here and there a few glimpses. We don't have much time, but it's really very nectarian. You should just hear this. And he is expressing the mind of Brahma and the response of the Lord, Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. So, Brahma is expressing, O Lord, perhaps you do not want to clearly say if I may attain the dust of the feet of inhabitants of Vraja or not. Well then, please answer one other question that is on my mind. What reward will you give the residents of Vraja? So in the previous verse, he was expressing that, let me be born as a grass on the outskirts of Vrindavan, at least, so that even, I will be. So he says that I'm not sure whether you're going to give me that reward. Then he is asking a question, what reward will you give the residents of Vraja for their great indebtedness and the great devotion they have? So Krishna replies, Brahma, though you know all the truths of the Vedas, can't you understand the answer? Brahma says, our minds are bewildered about this. Not only my heart, but also the hearts of Shiva, the four Kumaras, Narada, and all the wise philosophers are bewildered. What is the reward you are going to give for these Vrajavasis? Krishna says, exactly what is the state of your minds? So he is asking, your mind is bewildered. What is it? Can you explain what is the state of your mind? And Brahma says, although with great intelligence we search in all time and places, our minds have become bewildered, trying to think of what type of reward you could give them. There is no reward superior to you, and you have already given yourself eternally to the Vrajavasis as their son and other intimate loving relationships. If something better than you existed, then you would have given it to the people of Vraja. However, no such thing exists. That is why our minds are now bewildered. It's very logical what Brahma says. So what is more superior than the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself? So you have given yourself completely to them. So then now for whatever amazing activity and the great love they are expressing for you, what are you going to give them? I am not able to understand. It's really bewildering. So Krishna says, O Brahma, you are really ignorant of the truth. Knowing that the Vrajavasis would manifest such astonishing, spontaneous love for me, I have in advance given myself to them as their son, friend or lover, and they are satisfied with this. Others may be grateful for gifts that have already been given, but I am grateful for gifts that will be given in the future. And I reciprocate with these gifts even before they are given. So Krishna is expressing that these residents of Vrindavan, they are going to do more spontaneous loving devotional service for me. Then you will watch out, you will see what they are going to perform. But I am in advance, I have given myself to them. So I have come as a son, as a lover, as a friend. I have just given it in advance. So Brahma says, he is responding, that is true, my lord. You are certainly doing what is proper. But though Putana was sinful, just by imitating a devotee, she and all her family attained you personally. But the inhabitants of Vraja, who out of great affection gave up all attachments such as house, wealth, friends, pleasurable objects, body and mind for you, also attained you. First you gave yourself to the degraded sinner Putana, and then you gave yourself to the Vrajavasis, who are the exalted crest jewels of all saintly persons. Since you have already given yourself to Putana, you cannot rightly give yourself again as a gift to someone else. In the essence, this is highly improper. Therefore, you are now in debt to the residents of Vraja. Brahma communicated this message by the movements of his nose, eyes, eyebrows and neck. So, Brahma is indirectly saying that you already, like this, you have given yourself to Putana. Now, how you are going to give yourself again to others? So, like that is, I think, this is a very loving exchange between Brahma and Krishna here. And another interesting point that we see here, that indirectly from this verse we can just understand one point, which is there is a relation to today's verse. He's making a point that what the Vrajavasis have given themselves to Krishna. So he says that, Srila Vishnu Chakra Thakur is pointing out that out of great affection they have given up all attachments to the house, to the wealth, to whomsoever friends they had, and to all the pleasurable objects. And we all have so many objects which are really very pleasing to us. So they have sacrificed that. They have given up their body, their mind, and they have attained you. So indirectly is pointing out that, so if you want Krishna, then you have to give up that attachment to the house, attachment to the wealth, attachment to the friends, attachment to the pleasurable objects, and your only attachment should be Krishna, nothing else. So that's the point he's trying to give here, and that's being pointed out in today's verse. So we will go back to today's verse. So you can see in today's verse, Tavat Dragadhayas Tenas, Tavat Kara Griham Griham, Tavan Mohongri Nigado, Yavat Krishna Nate Janaha. So the same point that he has said, he is just expressing here. He's saying that Raga Adayaha. So Raga Adaya refers to attachments to the pleasurable objects, so material attachments. And then he says that Stenaha. So those material attachments, they are actually stealing. Because of material attachments, our attachment to our eternal Supreme Personality of God as Sri Krishna is lost. So that means that the love that we have for the Supreme Lord is stolen. So what has stolen it? The moha. Tavan mohongri nigado. So when we are in illusion, the illusion of attachment and attraction to this material world and other objects, what is the result of that is that we have lost, we have been, our possession of our love for Krishna is stolen away by the thieves. Who are the thieves? He says that the home, griham, then he says that the attachment, yes, the material attachments and desires remain thieves. And he says that the home becomes prisons, because the same home for which we are so much hard work is being performed, we are earning so much money, we are doing so much hard work, we think that that's it's so nice, but that house becomes a prison, because we are already in a big prison, and inside there is another prison that we are so much entangled into. Then he makes the point, then the affection for the family members. Tavan mohongri nigado. He says that that's like the foot shackles. Yeah. So he says that, so until people become your devotees, until they surrender to you, they take shelter of you, they are going to be more and more entangled in the prison house. So that's the point being made here. Now, again for today's verse, in the commentary, Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is pointing out that why suddenly Brahma is speaking this. He's making a point that actually some of them may criticize the Vrajavasis. Actually, if you see, many of them are simple householders. They are herding cows. They have their children. So same thing. So here Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is pointing out in his commentary, he says that Lord Krishna may protest. The sannyasis will object that the inhabitants of Vraja, who are all householders, have fallen into a network of material life, bound by attachment to wife, children, and a host of other persons and things. So somebody may apparently criticize like that, but then Brahma says that, that you can apply for the materialistic grahasthas. Griham, by the word griham, he means that these are for the materialistic householders. You may speak about them like that, but not these pure devotees of the Lord. Although it appeared like they have emotions, they have love, they have affection, but everything is completely, every breath of their activity is simply to please Krishna. That's their role. And then through that we can understand, even one can be in a householder life, but if he has very clearly set his goal as trying to please Krishna, or Krishna as the goal of life, and he is endeavoring himself and his family members in trying to serve Krishna, then he is on a perfect path. Then that house no more becomes like a prison. That family members become a part of the devotional service, and the attachments to the children and the family, specifically to raise them in Krishna consciousness, doesn't become like foot shackles. So this is a very important point to be understood. Otherwise, the whole thing becomes very, very complicated. You're more and more you're entangled. When we go out, we can see how people are so much attached to every single belonging, and are completely in illusion. So This is the exact thing that's going on. No? Either they are completely in their own network of their family, they are very much attached to their house. Sometimes people don't even want. Previously, the culture was there in India very much in many places. Anybody who comes, who walks in, they will just ask them to come to the house. Nowadays, people are having so much of security system, and from a very far off distance, they want to see, and then they want to kick them out. Well, also, there is always a great risk. Now there are so many people in the name of sadhus and others there. There are so many thieves are roaming around. That's another situation. But that was the culture. The culture was that whenever the sadhu comes, they want to hear from him. They want to hear from him so that they can become purified of their attachments and then their misconceptions and then the illusory waves in which they are floating. As a result, they are going far away from the perfection of life, which is to develop love for Krishna. So that we see here how currently in the material world, because of the ignorance, because of the lack of knowledge of Krishna consciousness, people are suffering in this material world, and they're really not able to know that actually the real wealth or the pure bliss of Krishna consciousness is hidden in the heart. So the process of Krishna consciousness, by hearing from the Srimad Bhagavatam and then hearing from the pure devotees, one can come out of the conditioning of the material world. So it's in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about 4 kinds of people who can come to him. Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukrutino arjuna arto jignasur artarti jnani cha bharatarshava. If you see in that purport, Srila Prabhupada very clearly points out about the significance of the pure devotees of the Lord. He says that, so there are one category of people who are Dushkritis, and there is again another category of people who are Sukritis. Now among this there are some people who are attached, who wants material gain. There are some people who are suffering. They want solution for their suffering. It could be a back pain, it could be a disease, it could be several problems. So they want some solution. And then there are another category of people who are inquisitive, very inquisitive to know about the purpose of life. And then there are again another category of people who are already in search of God and they are having quite some knowledge of God. Now, to all these categories of people, how do they attain perfection? So Prabhupada in the purport very clearly explains the clear position of what is pure devotional service. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karma dhanavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhakti ruttama. So the pure devotional service which can only satisfy the soul, nothing else can satisfy the spirit soul, because that's the constitutional position of the spirit soul, to be in loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and being satisfied in that service. And what is that service? So it is defined favorable execution of devotional service without any tinge of fruitive activities. That means expecting some result out of the action that you perform in service to God. You don't expect anything in return from Him. That's one thing. And another thing, not speculating with various ideas about the perfect position of the Supreme Lord and the position of the material world, our relationship with the Lord. Not you speculate and come up with some whimsical ideas. So when you give up this mental speculation and then this attitude of fruitive results, expecting fruitive results, when you become free from that, then we are actually situated in our constitutional position. Then we become really happy. So that's the whole point. So Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he makes the point that, so when a person who is suffering, when he comes in touch with the devotees, that's what the devotees are now very much engaged during the book distribution marathon. We are going house to house, meeting people wherever we can, whatever we can. Somehow or other we are trying to give them a book, because this book contains the transcendental knowledge. This book gives the solution how to revive our eternal relationship with God, which is the real solution for all our problems. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunai Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karayudai. So the Nitya Siddha, the perfection, which is pure love of God, is actually hidden in our heart. And but unfortunately, we are, as Brahma was pointing out in other verses, that we are in a very fearful state. Why? Because we take the rope to be the snake. That's a problem. We take this body to be all in all, everything, that's reality we think, but actually we have got nothing to do with this body. We have got nothing to do with this material world. We got nothing to do with the so-called social relationships of this world. We have got nothing to do with the so much asserts, wealth, and then whatever name, fame, glories of this material world. Nothing can satisfy the soul. So only our eternal relationship with Krishna and the loving service that we render to Krishna can give complete satisfaction for the soul. And we can see people are really, they have so much money, they have good house, they have facilities, they have relationships with their friends, their relatives. They are not happy because they think that is reality. But this is the very nature of this material world, that there is sometimes sukha, sometimes dukkha. You can't avoid it. You can't avoid that. So sometimes it appears like everything is good, but very soon, just by the passing of time, you will immediately see the nature of this material world. Nothing stays. Immediately there is some suffering comes, and then people are completely, they are not even able to sleep. To sleep, they need to take a pill. That's the situation. We met one person who was explaining the same thing. That it's very rare who can read all this. I said, you please read. You're taking medicine. You're buying so much money you're spending to purchase pills, but you take, this is the real pill. Yesterday we met one healer. She said that she's kind of a pranic healer. So we said that this is the real healing. You please read this Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and then we took Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, and then the Ramayana book. So I said that this Krishna book you read, don't need any healing techniques, anything. Every day you read this Krishna book, and you get very, I said that you get sweet dreams. You get Krishna dreams. You will be enriched with your relationship with Krishna. You'll remember about the pure devotees of the Lord, the beautiful service, unadulterated, pure service they are engaged in. That will give great satisfaction to the soul. So that's the reality. And by giving this knowledge to others, by distributing these books far and wide with great vigor and enthusiasm, we can really save the lives of the people. And when they hear the message of the pure devotees of Vrindavan and the great prayers offered by the pure devotees of the Lord, and that will create a great sensation among people. They will be able to come out of the petty material desires and the so-called attachments and so-called name, fame, glories, and so many misconceptions they can be freed from. And we are really indebted to Srila Prabhupada for having engaged us in this service and also helping the whole world to get the real knowledge of Krishna consciousness. Giving Krishna, Udharadi. Actually, he is Udharadi. He is the one who actually is saving the lives of so many people. And that will enlighten people to come out of this great suffering. No, there is one verse, the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. There is one Shubhasita, I think it is from the Hitopadesh. It says that there are people, Lagu Chetasam, narrow-minded people are there. But who is a broad-minded person? A broad-minded person is one who actually brings everyone to the family of Krishna. In that way, pleasing Krishna. And who are those persons who are doing that? Great acharyas like Srila Prabhupada and his sincere followers. So we have to be very much inspired, and we have to push, we have to help people to come and take shelter of Krishna and his pure devotees. So we will stop here. It's already 8:15. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada